Hello, incoming HAS students for semester 2, 2021. And my goodness, this is not how we imagined this process would be, and I'm sure it's not how you imagined it would be either. So what we're going to do is talk you through how this is going to work, but before we do that, I do want to say welcome to you, and I would also like to acknowledge that the people who are still in this room are meeting today on beautiful Kaurna land, so we work on Kaurna land as well. We'd like to acknowledge that this land was never ceded. We'd like to pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and we'd like to acknowledge any Indigenous colleagues in the space, physically and online as well. Right, folks, so we had this beautiful setup where we're going to have a warm chat, we're going to see you, you're going to see us, we'd get a sense of everyone as a person, and then yet again, COVID reared its ugly head, and so now we're doing this online. And that kind of reflects Flinders' absolute commitment to keeping you folks safe. So what we're trying to do is make sure that staff and students are safe, but also that you get the supports and information and the experience of being part of a university community. That's really important as well. So what we're going to do today is share some information that's going to be really helpful to you as you navigate these first few weeks of university. And the people who are going to be sharing it are me. So my name's Chris Natalia, and my phone is just on because I've had to tell my kids that they are going to be working from the kitchen table for 7 days. I'm Chris Natalia. I'm a sociologist and I'm part of the extended leadership team of the college. So we're the people who try and figure out how to give you all the best possible experience, and we're people you can always come and talk to if you have any queries or issues. We've also got a student representative here, Brooklyn. So Brooklyn's involved in tourism and international business. Brooklyn's one of our student representatives in the college. So our college has a group of students who are aligned with particular disciplines, and they will introduce themselves to you, and they can be your go-to people if you have any questions, and they also give us advice on how to make the student experience better. So we see them as really important people and really important resources in our college. We've also got Jo. Jo is one of our student advice support team people. You don't really need to know what the role is, although, Jo, I don't know if that role is particularly important to you.
Sure, I'm an enrolment and course advisor, so it's pretty self-explanatory that you can come to me for enrolment advice.
Yes, Jo is one of the people who can help you figure out any issues or hiccups with your enrolment, if you want to change your enrolment, if you're not sure how your course is going to be playing out over the years, if you're a little bit worried about how you're managing and you want to talk to someone about your options, Jo and her colleagues are the people who can give you advice on that, and they are always available and happy to have a chat face-to-face when that's possible, and over the phone and over email as well. And then finally, we have the lovely and talented Sarah Peters, who is one of our senior lecturers in drama. And we've brought Sarah along as well, just to have an additional academic voice and another source of great wisdom in talking about how we actually manage these things. Now, in terms of how this is going to work, I've got some slides I want to show you, and we'll be talking about various aspects around those slides. We also want to make sure that we answer any questions that you do have. So in order to do this, we want you, now I'm just saying this, I have no idea how it actually works, but we want you to go here to slido.com, and you can type in questions, and then we get those questions, and our lovely and talented team before me will will raise those questions for us. We also have questions, you can ask questions through HAS inquiries, and they'll be fed through as well. And is there another place students can ask questions as well? Sorry? So chas.operations at Flinders. So chas.inquiries@flinders.edu.au. Oh, sorry. Sorry, this is all new for us as well. So this is a really important learning lesson, everyone, when you realise that no one gets it right all the time at universities, and also to check your email addresses. So it's has.inquiries@flinders.edu.au. You can ask questions that way, or you can ask questions at chas.operations@flinders.edu.au. And I just see that my line manager has her hand up and would like to share something with us.
If you can make a note, the live stream wasn't working from the start. It has been recorded for the entire video, so it will be in the document library.
Okay.
But you may have just missed the introduction there, but they've got that slider information.
Okay. That's okay. And also I've just been told that live stream wasn't working right from the start, so if you've dropped in a little bit later, it is going to be recorded and you do have access to this whole conversation. The first bit really has been me just chatting on about who we are. So charming, but probably not essential information. So please do ask any questions that you have. So let's talk first of all about getting your essentials sorted, because one thing that we're learning, folks, is that there's a whole bunch of things you can do to just set yourself up at uni so you don't have to think about it again, but it can be a little bit confusing to figure out what needs to be set up and how. So we're just going to step you through some of those things, and if you have any questions, any questions at all, shoot them through to us and we can answer them right now so you don't have to have that hanging around in your head. So the first thing I need to talk to you about is Octa. Now, Octa is the place you go that holds everything, right? So pretty much anything you need from Flinders that's online, you can find through Octa. And particularly important things that I just want to flag here are the Flinders Learning Online. We call that Flow, okay? So if people say go to Flow, this is what they're talking about. No one calls it Flinders Learning Online. We all call it Flow. What Flow is your website for each topic. So each topic has their own Flow site, and you get through that to Octa. And that topic will that Flow site for each topic, so each subject that you're doing, is going to have all the basic information that you know. Your lecturers will probably talk you through that in the first lecture, but that's what they're talking about. It also has Ask Flinders. Ask Flinders is a place you can click on the button and then just shoot through any questions you might have. And Outlook, which is the email program that we use. And we do ask that you check your Flinders Outlook, because any information that we need to share with you is going to go to that Flinders Outlook account. It's not going to go to your personal account. Now, academics and students have very different views of Flow, by which I mean what we see on our screen, and Octa as well, what we see on our screen is really different from what you folks see, because we kind of go into the system in different ways because we've got different things we need to do, right? So I was just hoping, Brooklyn, do you have any advice to share about managing Octa, including how to say it, or managing Flow as well?
Well, Octa is you can pretty much see where you need to put where to go and all that. But as you can see, you can also manage it and put tabs on what you need to, on what your like main 4 things that you go to. Like for me, I have a tab that says my normal stuff, which only has Outlook, student systems, and Flow, and library resources. Those are my top 4 applications I use. And with Flow, especially with this year, they changed the look and how Flow works. And it was, for me, it was like a little bit difficult to get used to, but then you get used to it, and it was much more easier than the old system that they used. So, yeah.
And I'd say that if you have any issues negotiating Octa or Flow, you can always contact your topic coordinators as well. And if you can't find anything on Flow, just let us know and we can tell you where it is. It's no big deal at all.
And also it depends on your topic coordinator how they set up your Flow page, because some of them use module 1 instead of week 1 or like week 2 or module 3. It's a bit confusing, but you get it once you ask, or just go with the flow.
Go with the flow,
Yeah.
love it. That's a dad joke. Sarah or Joe, do you have any comments you'd like to make about Octa or Flow?
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to reiterate what Brooklyn's just said there around, going through and kind of figuring out the literacy of it, the how to navigate through each of those individual flow sites for the topics that you have. This week, this orientation week, is the perfect time to just go through and have a bit of a look through. And ideally, your topic coordinators, the first lecture that you have, the first tutorial that you have, they're going to step that through and say, this is how I'm using Flow. I use modules or weeks or etc. But if you've already had a bit of a look through, then that's kind of like you're layering in your immersion to Flow. And so when you're in class and they're talking about it, you'll be referred to something and it won't be the first time that you've seen that on Flow because you've gone and had a bit of a look through yourself. And then the second thing I'd say is it is so totally, wonderfully, perfectly okay to say, I don't understand where these things are on Flow. Can you tell me, please, topic coordinator person, how you are using Flow? How often would you like me to check Flow? Are you putting it up information that I should be reading in advance of each week? Or the way I use my Flow, because I teach very practical drama classes, we do our practical drama class and at the end of the day, I say, okay, this is the summary of what we did. So I use each of the weeks in Flow as we played this game and we did this activity and we did this task and I spoke about this play. So I use it as a summary reflection as opposed to things you need to read in advance. So definitely just ask your lecturer or tutor how they're going to use Flow.
Absolutely.
I've just got one small point to add, is I often get asked, I can't get access to my Flow site yet. Why is that? And it is because the Flow sites are not opened until 1 week before the topic will be taught.
So that means probably they should be open for most students now, given that we start, or at least this week, given that we start next week. We do really want to just emphasise, as Sarah said, it is fine to ask questions. Here's a little story from many years ago when I was an undergraduate. And while you might not guess by my dewy complexion, I'm actually quite old. And when I did undergraduate, we didn't have computers, so we didn't have library catalogues. We just had these little drawers and they had little rectangular cards in them. And when you wanted to look up a reading, you had to go to those drawers and kind of flick through them like some kind of 1950s secretary or something. So that was all on the first floor of one of the libraries that I used to use. So this was up in Queensland. But I didn't know where the books were. So the first floor had all of the card catalogues and I didn't know where the books were. And I felt so out of place and so nervous that I was too scared to ask, where are the books? And it took me a good 6 weeks to ask, where are the books? And the very lovely librarian said, oh, see those stairs over there? Just go up those stairs and you'll find them. Do you know what? No one got angry at me. No one laughed at me. So if I can ask, where are the books? You can ask, where are the anything you want? And look where I am. I'm still at university. No one kicked me out. The other thing I would say about Flow is you can't break it. So just someone needs to hear that. Just remember, you cannot break Flow. I think we've got a question here. We've got a couple of questions. Yep.
A note to anyone watching online and the recording, we're struggling with the camera to view the panel and our presenter, but they're still able to see the PowerPoint and hear fine.
Okay, great.
No, we're just not
Okay.
able to pick up any of the individuals, just what we're
Okay.
running.
Sonia, do you have a question?
Because of the announcement of lockdown,
Yes, okay. So the question is, because we've just had the announcement of lockdown, are we going to be moving online or do we wait a little bit longer? Folks, I can't give you that information because that's not something our college decides. That's something that's decided centrally. All I can say is just keep an eye on your Flinders email address because the information will be sent through to there and it will be sent through as soon as a decision has been made on that. Regardless of what Flinders does, if because of lockdown you now have kiddos working with you on the kitchen table, as I believe some people in this room are now facing again, just let us know, okay? We did lockdown last year. We know just how tricky it is and we will work with you to make sure that whether classes are online or face-to-face, you do not get disadvantaged by this process, okay? We want you to succeed. We actually want you to have as good an experience as you possibly can. So if lockdown is going to impact on your capacity to engage, let us know and we will work with you to sort things out. When I say let us know, let your topic coordinators know, or you can contact HAS Inquiries or CHAS Operations and they can push you through to the person you need to talk to, okay? There's no wrong door. You can just ask and we will make sure that things get sorted out. Brooklyn, did you have something you wanted to say?
So like if you're still afraid to ask a question to your topic coordinator, you can always ask one of your classmates to help you, but like if they don't get it as well, both of you can just both email the topic coordinator and then the topic coordinator realize, oh, they didn't get this, so they'll make like an announcement. So making you feel like you're not the only one that you had the question, because if you have a question, probably the majority of your class will have that same question.
100%. That is so true. I think that's really, really good advice. You can always organise it as a group. The other thing to keep in mind is it's actually our job to answer questions. It's no hassle on us, and we like it. We like students to be happy and confident, not worried. That's not a good outcome for us or students. We've got some more questions from the floor. Yes.
Joe, if I'm doing Comms 1001 online, will there be any lectures or tutorials I have to attend? Just asking because it doesn't appear on my timetable, but is on my flow.
Okay, with comms, there is normally, and of course now with COVID, things may change. There is an online version of the topic, and also a version of attendance where you would go to workshops. If you are enrolled in the online version, then you just need to go onto your Flow site, and it will give you instructions about when you need to be online studying that topic. And watch this space. We'll have more information out today for anybody that's enrolled in comms with face-to-face activity.
Thank you, Joe. Do we have other questions?
I've got something to clarify on the point before.
Yeah.
Just to clarify on the question about if we're going into lockdown and does that mean we might not be having face-to-face classes, I think the question was actually also asking, is there potentially that it would be delayed? Would the start be delayed? And so I just thought I would clarify and say that week one will be week one.
Yes.
And whether that's week one that has something that is face-to-face or half the week that's online or whatever it ends up being, next week will still be week one of the semester. So regardless of what happens, we will still be starting next week.
Yep, thank you, Sarah. So the next thing I just want you to be aware of is Compass. So Compass is really useful for you looking at your timetable in particular, as well as university systems. So when you enrol in university, there's lots of different ways that material gets presented. The classic is kind of a lecture and then a tutorial, right? So the lecture is when the whole group gets together, so everyone in your cohort, and tutorials are smaller groups that tend to be focused more on discussion. But there are also workshops and seminars, still not totally clear on the distinction between them myself, but that's what they exist. I imagine, Sarah, in practical courses, there are workshops probably have a very specific meaning. Yep.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, hopefully, ideally, the staff teaching into your topic will make this really clear at the outset. But for me, workshops mean we're going to be in a theatre space, and it's going to be physical and practical and moving around the room and creating performance work and sharing that performance work with one another. Whereas a seminar might indicate more of a conversation, a discussion that's happening. It might be a little bit more seated. So sometimes those words that we use to describe the different, activities, different learning activities, give some indication of what is required of you physically in the space, whether it is to bring along your thoughts and your thinking and be prepared to discuss, or whether it is to, wear. I always start my classes, my workshops by saying, please wear clothes that you're going to be really comfortable moving around in, sitting on the floor in, potentially like lying on the floor in, moving around, dancing around the room in.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's right. Potentially. So, so hopefully your topic coordinator will clarify, but they can give you an indication of what you need to be prepared to do in that space.
Yeah. I just would also like to reiterate that wearing comfortable clothes that you can dance and lie around in is a good tip for life, not just a good tip for drama workshops. Jo, were there things that you wanted to say about the timetable or accessing the timetable?
Maybe if you find that you've enrolled in a topic and registered in classes and they are clashing, first advice is to maybe choose another class if that is possible. And if you're finding that there are no other options, then get back in contact to us through those HAS inquiries, ask Flinders, and ask for some help with that.
So sometimes, like with tutorials and things, you can move yourself, can't you? If there's space in other places. Yep, so you don't have to rely.
You don't have to rely, but if you get stuck and there doesn't seem to be other options, then that's when you ask,
Cool, okay. So we can typically work around clashing timetable commitments and try and figure out something that works for you.
So I actually had a timetable clash last semester. So instead I enrolled one class that doesn't require attendance online. So I worked on the class that was clashing with my other class online instead of face-to-face. So that could be another option.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yep. Okay, so next. What we really need to emphasise, and I hope this is not boring yet, is that please ask if you need to ask. It's absolutely fine. You can do that through Ask Flinders on Octa. Once we get back to more normal processes where students can be on campus and it's not locked down, the college has a college front, which is in the Humanities building, and it is staffed by lovely people who know lots of things. And again, you can just turn up at the desk and say, I need help, and we will direct you to the person who is best able to do that. So we've got people sitting on the front desk for that very exact purpose, so that you can turn up and ask a person and they can give you the advice that you need. Also remember, there's Flinders Connect and also student support services as well. They're learning support services and counselling support services and disability support services. Now, folks, I think something that I really want to emphasise is that most of us need supports at university at various times in our university career. Sometimes that support is advice, sometimes it's something a little bit bigger. If you're living with a disability, so that's a condition that is impacting on your capacity to study and learn a kind of medium or longer term basis, the disability services can work with you to figure out the best ways that we can support you, and that's called a learning access plan. Lots of benefits. It sort of helps you and your topic coordinators think through, well, what can we do to make sure that you can do your best work in this topic? It means that you don't have to talk about stuff all the time. You don't have to share your story anytime you need an extension or something. And it's really, really useful, and loads of our students have learning access plans. So when you go to disability services to ask, you're actually joining a huge cohort of students, many who do absolutely outstanding work.
Yeah, I have an access plan, so yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to just talk about what happens when you go for an access plan, Brooklyn?
So basically, you just go to the counseling service, and there's a front desk, and you just say, I want to talk to someone about getting an access plan. So they'll give you a form, and you fill it out, and then you actually get to talk to one-on-one with a person, and they'll like determine. It's been a while since I did mine.
Because they last a little while as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll basically talk about like what your conditions are. It's just one-on-one. It's very private, and it's for you to like write down on what you need help with and what the university can do to help you that. So basically my access plan lets me get extensions whenever I want, basically, because of I also was diagnosed with diabetes during my first year, so my first year was so chaotic. So yeah, so basically I was in hospital during exam the week before exams, so I did not know I could apply for supplementary exams until I reached out during second semester, and then that's when I got my access plan. I was like, oh, that would have helped me so much more in semester one. But yeah. But yeah, it's really helpful. I found it very helpful for me, especially, like, even when it's like, this is so not scripted, but, I'm trying to put in the words, but it doesn't have to be like a physical thing. It can also be like mentally, like if you're suffering from anxiety or like even have like panic or like you're very stressed out, tend to be easily stressed out, you can mention that in your access plan. They can actually help you as well, and mention that in the access plan. So yeah.
That's a really, really good point. So that disability is the word we use, but it's a really broad definition. So as I say, if you've got stuff that's going to make it difficult, go chat to someone and they can help you think that through. As academics, when we get your learning access plan, your disability access plan, it doesn't tell us what you're living with, what conditions you're living with. So we're told what we can do to work with you to make things easier, but that information around your particular conditions is private and we don't know. So if that's an issue of sensitivity to you, know that that confidentiality is really important. Sarah, do you have thoughts on that? Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that all of these support services are free. And that's really useful and valuable to keep in mind. And particularly, I think I am often directing people towards the counselling service because all of these, how you get to all of these places to ask for help is usually, if you've got a good relationship with your topic coordinator, your lecturer, your tutor, you probably are going to them and then they're directing you on. And because we can't be the experts in everything, but we value you and your success and your well-being, and so are going to be useful and helpful to the extent that we possibly can and point you in the right direction. And whether that's an acute need, I've spoken with students who straight away it was so clear that they needed to talk to someone with much greater skill than I had. So we walked down to counselling service and they were able to see somebody straight away because it was an acute in the moment need. And that, you might only need to access the counselling service, once or twice. Alternatively, you can set up a regular. You might have a monthly check-in with your counsellor for the entire time that you're here, and that is completely free. There's a great health service. There's a doctor there. I just wanted to emphasise the freeness of this whole situation, and that you should absolutely take advantage of everything there. And as Chris was saying, we don't see the particulars of people's conditions, but the great thing is that there are tips and hints there for us to think about how we can modify what we are teaching or adapt what we're teaching or provide different access points or opportunities for people to get into the learning outcomes. And those things that we put in place are actually really useful for every single
Everybody.
student in our room.
Yeah.
Not just the people who have said, because of this condition, this would be useful for me. It's actually just making learning more accessible for everybody. So do it for yourself, and then also know that there's this beautiful roll-on effect for the learning opportunities for everybody in your class.
Absolutely, that's so important. And I guess the other thing I'd just remind you folks is that it's fine. Like, if you're living with a condition, no shame. Like, it can make life a bit hard, but there is no one teaching who is going to judge you for that. And in fact, I guarantee that there are people teaching you who are likely also living with various conditions and disabilities as well. There's a really high proportion of the Australian population who live with disabilities, so you're part of a really big cohort, including lecturers and tutors as well as students. And we are absolutely not just accepting, I'd say, but celebrating difference and diversity, and really want to make sure that you get what you need and you get what you love from university.
So can I just say something? Just keep in mind when you do have an access plan that it isn't shared with anybody, because obviously it's confidential, which we've spoken about. So it is up to you as the individual student to actually share that access plan with your topic coordinator. Otherwise they have no idea. And you may have them in a topic the following year or semester, but just remind them that you've got that access plan, and give them another copy so that they can see all of that information again to refresh them on what needs to happen. A lot of students go to the trouble of getting their access plan in place but then don't share it, and of course we can't help you if we don't have a copy of that.
Solid advice. Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
It's absolutely. I was just going to say, I have rheumatoid arthritis. It's a chronic inflammatory condition. It means that sometimes my mobility is fine, and other times I need to adapt things. Other times I have to ask my class, can you set up the props, please? Because the mobility in my hands is not great at the minute. So I guess something I just want to flag there is that you might have things that you are navigating and dealing with that mean that you need particular help at particular times, but not all the time, and that is also okay.
Yep.
So that there is no, it's okay if 1 week you are able to do something and 2 weeks later you're not able to do that thing.
All good.
Also legitimate and totally understandable and fine.
Yep, and we can work with that. We want to work with that. Yep, absolutely. So we've talked about disability, and Sarah also mentioned counselling as well. So if you're having issues, again, you can talk to someone. If you're having troubles, my goodness, I would put money on almost everyone I met has had troubles, and it would have been helpful or has been helpful to talk to somebody. So again, no shame, and this is not a kind of deviant thing. This is what happens in our complex lives. Counselling can give you some supports and help you figure out what to do. And again, it's all confidential, we don't know, but having those supports and that information can help you think about what's the best way forward, what's the best way of managing my studies at the moment. And we'll work with you, so topic coordinators, lecturers, tutors will work with you when you tell us what you need. Brooklyn, have you got thoughts on that?
Yep, so like the counselling service, they'll help me with anything. So during first year when I was dealing with all that, I went to the counselling service and they actually helped me manage my studying time and also manage my studying time, my doctor's appointments, and my work schedule. So I had a lot going on, and they helped me breathe through it and just helped me selectively place where I put my time in places. So they really helped me schedule many things out for me. So it helped me breathe more and feel less overwhelmed. So it's definitely good to go to counseling service, even if you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed about your studying, because venting is also a good way to breathe. So yeah.
I think, Brooklyn, that idea, if you need to be reminded to breathe, might be a good idea to think about going and talking to counselling or talking to someone about that. I think what I sometimes find with students who talk to me is it takes students a little while to figure out that maybe I do need to go and see someone, that I do need some assistance. Partly I think students tell me, oh, it's not that bad, or other people don't need it. And I mean, that's just totally irrelevant, frankly. If you feel you need it, you need it. So let's put in place something that's going to help you. You don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So I think that's really important to remember, that if you're feeling anxious, that's actually not what we want our students to feel on an ongoing basis. Okay, so if you're an anxious university student or an overwhelmed university student, we would encourage you to go talk to counselling services, because that is not what university should be, and it's not what we want it to be for you. Would you agree with that, everyone?
Yep.
Okay. The other thing I just want to flag is that we have the beautiful Oasis, which is a wellbeing centre. Now, that is not a counselling or disability, but it is a really lovely, it is so warm. Oh my goodness, it is the warmest place on campus. So even if you feel cold, just go and sit in the warmth. Not that Flinders is underheated, but just as my little life hack, when you get to go back on campus. Oasis offers free coffee, free tea, free chats. Sometimes there's free soup, there's free food. Yoga, just well-being and mindfulness. It's just a really lovely place to help you get a little bit centred. And sometimes we don't necessarily need counselling, but it can be useful just to feel safe and happy, and it's a good place for that.
Yeah, and the Oasis is a lot of international students go there, so you get really interesting conversations and like cultural awareness when you talk to people in there. So yeah,
that's a really good point too. Yeah. And then finally, I just want to flag student learning support services. So Flinders has a whole bunch of services to help you with your studies. Now, your topic coordinators will talk you through the specifics of what's available, but I really want to emphasise that uni is about learning, which seems kind of simple, but what I mean by that is when you start a topic or when you start uni, you don't know everything, and so you need to learn things, because otherwise why would you be going? So that might mean that you need some help learning how to reference or learning how to write an essay. And that doesn't mean you failed, it means that you're actually doing what universities are designed to do. So you can feel a little bit overwhelmed and a little bit dumb. A student said to me the other day that universities, it's really easy to feel dumb. But you're not dumb, you're learning. And that takes time and that can be challenging. And it might be that these student learning support services can just give you a little bit of a boost with things that you might need extra help with. So again, it's there. Take advantage of it. You're one of thousands and thousands of students who have taken advantage of it. It's there because we know it's useful. I don't know, Brooklyn, if you've used any of those services? The learning support services?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, they helped me with editing my drafts and all that. And especially, you know, the second level in the library, they have many classes on grammar and also like English for international students, or if English is your second language, you can go there and they'll help you learn more and like learn how to edit more of your drafts and to like make it your work more readable, not readable, but like polished. Yeah.
And can I just say that that's something that as academics we really like access to too, right? Like you're constantly trying to figure out how to be better. That's part of what learning is. That's true for students. It's true of everyone who works at universities, not just academics, but support and professional staff as well. We're always trying to be as good as we possibly can be, and these services help you. So, okay, folks, there's a welcome hub that was planned. It's not going to be available just for a little while, but I reckon the university will keep you updated on those kind of supports and options once lockdown ends. You might want to go on Flow and do a Finding Your Way at Flinders. So that's a little orientation topic that just steps you through all of the information that we're offering here and just kind of make sure that you're on top of it all. I don't know if you've done that at all, Brooklyn. Is that something that you've used?
No.
And that's absolutely
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably new.
But it might just be a way of kind of stepping through and making sure you've ticked all the boxes of things you know. So just a reminder that help is available. Now, other things you are going to need is your student ID card, because that lets you print and borrow from the library. What you need to do is go to Octa and press Order My ID card, and that will work for you. I've not had to do that. As a staff member, I have to turn up face to face and make sure my hair looks nice and get my photo, and then have security go, oh, you've been working here a long time, when they compare my photo and my
this is
haggard
new.
self. You haven't done this one,
No, it's
Brooklyn?
new.
Jo, do you know how this works? Is it that simple?
Yes, it is. It is very simple. It's new that you can now do it online. And if you have any troubles, just submit an Ask Flinders request and we'll follow it up.
Yep.
But it should be pretty straightforward.
So make sure you do that, because it's good to, no one's going to ask you to prove who you are and why you're on campus, but it's useful for those things like borrowing from the library, exams, printing and stuff like that. Okay, Wi-Fi, folks, that's what you need to know. The network is EduRoam. The username is your fan, which is typically a little bit of your last name and then some numbers after that. And the password is your uni password that you're just using across university. If you need more information, that's where you go. But again, ask us and we can just step you through if you have any issues at all. IT services can help you, but you can ask someone in the college and they can direct you where you need to go. Okay, get prepared for first week, next week. Make sure you're enrolled in all of your topics. This means that if you do this as quickly as possible, you can get your best possible timetable. Just be aware that Friday, 6th of August is the last day you can enrol in semester 2 topics. What that means is you can enrol in topics after the first week, but it can, and that's fine. And then you just need to make sure you catch up on that information so you're all up to date. We've given you some places there that you can do your enrolment, but if you've got any questions at all, this would be a time when you would speak to Jo and her colleagues who can step you through your choices and the process as well. Is there anything you want to add, Jo?
So at this stage for our new semester 2 students, you would have received an email from myself or our Hass Inquiries inbox welcoming you and providing you with a study planner and also with some enrolment information. If you didn't get that, please feel free to get back in contact with us and we'll resend it. Something also to keep in mind is that if you are in a combined degree, you will need a very unique study planner and it will be different to the other people that you may be studying with that are in a single degree. But just check in with me and I'll help you through that process. If you're feeling nervous, you've enrolled but you're not sure if you've got it right or you're not sure if you should have enrolled in more topics or any questions around it, please just feel free to get in contact with us. I'll have a quick look and I'll confirm that everything's okay and then you can feel much better about knowing that everything's in order.
It's just good to have someone say, it's all okay. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm doing a combined degree and Jo has helped me a lot. Even in my 4th year, I was like, Jo, can you look at my final semester? Because I'm not sure if I'm enrolled in the right topics. Because, yeah, it was just, I was like, I feel like, especially I'm in my last semester, I'm like, this impending doom is going to happen. That's why I was like, Jo, I need your help.
So Jo can stave off a sense of impending doom, like right there.
You just need that reassurance.
Oh, Brooklyn, we all need that reassurance. Folks, you might need textbooks. Not every topic has textbooks, right? So some topics just use links to readings in the library. But if you do need to buy a textbook, this is where you go to buy the textbook. The other thing to keep in mind is that textbooks are available at Flinders Library. A lot of them are available as online resources now, but they'll be available in like limited loans, so like 7-day or 3-day loans. So if you're struggling a little bit financially, There's usually workarounds where you don't need to buy a really expensive textbook.
There's also, I think there's a Flinders, there's also a Flinders Uni where you can buy secondhand books from other students that don't use them. Even just a PDF version, which is like, some of them charge $10 for, and you get the whole textbook in PDF form, so yeah.
So where's that, Brooklyn?
It's on Facebook. If you look up Flinders, let me look it up now.
Brooklyn's just getting out her phone. She's looking at Facebook.
And if you're wondering where you can find what textbooks you may need, you can look on your Flow site as well.
Oh, yep.
So you just search up Flinders University textbook buy and sell, and then you just see it and they're first going. And then there will be people selling their textbooks or people looking for textbooks, and then people will just comment, oh, I have that in PDF form, and if you want it, just send me a DM and all that, yeah.
So it sounds like there's a bit of a community of students at Flinders, and they can help. Often there'll be
But
people who
also
can
ask your topic coordinator if they think that you need the textbook, because sometimes they rely on either their readings more rather than the textbook. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really pertinent question to ask.
So don't waste your money. So just ask your topic coordinator first.
Yeah. Car parking, folks, hypothetically, once lockdown is over, it's free during our week, which is this week, so I guess you're missing out on free car parking now. the greatest tragedy of all of this lockdown. Otherwise, you do have to pay for parking from 9 to 5 p.m. So just be aware of that, and that's where you go.
Or park at Tonsley, and then it's free parking at Tonsley campus, and then there's a bus that you can just take. It's a free bus. It's a free Flinders bus that you can take. It comes every 30 minutes, so yeah.
Campus Connector. We love free things.
Yeah, Campus Connect, yeah.
Yeah. So I love that. That's what a great tip.
Yeah, especially if I want to like study for like a whole day, I park at Tonsley, so I don't have to pay that much. But you can also pay the semester fees. But I'm only here for uni for 3 days, so I was like, yeah, I'm not going to pay over $100 for a semester where I'm going to, because I do use Cello Park and I get like I pay like $20 a month, depends on when I'm here. But yeah, parking at Tonsley definitely saved me money, but you have to get there early. So yeah.
I love that. I didn't know that. That's great. And yeah, then the little bus, just you see it looping around campus, just a happy little bus. So that's nice and easy. Okay, folks, this is kind of beyond my ken, I must admit, but just be aware of safety online, particularly as we're now, not just through COVID, but just generally, universities are working more and more online. Please be aware that when people are threatening or intimidating or humiliating you online, that is just not okay. That is cyber abuse, and we don't want it and won't have it at Flinders. We take that really, really seriously. Respect and safety and care is really important to us. So if that is happening, let us know. Let your topic coordinators know, and we can figure out what needs to go on. We take it seriously. Talk to CHAS inquiries or CHAS operations, and they can direct you where you can go. So even if we can't help immediately, we can make sure that we get the supports and help that you actually need. And you can actually also just report it there as well. So when you do that, you're not necessarily getting someone in trouble or getting them kicked out of university. What you're doing is saying, hey, can I get some advice on that? And that can be just a really useful first step. But we don't like it and we don't think it is okay at all. Okay, make the most of orientation. Oh, I don't know. We needed to change this to orientation from your kitchen table, but we just didn't have time. Look at all of these lovely people on campus where you are not. What you can do though is use these O guides. They're not just people who help you actually around campus. They're people who can just be they're students who can just be a contact for you. So can I ask that if you do just want to meet some people and get some supports, put your name down for this, and we'll be sorting out some kind of connections around that. Jo, do you have any sense of how that might be working now, or just stay tuned?
Stay tuned, I think, because it's so hot off the press what's happening that we just need to take a little time to, plan things properly. So there will be a lot of communication as soon as it's ready.
Yeah, you'll get so many emails, folks, which will probably drive you a little bit balmy, but do try and read them as well, because we're trying to respond as quickly as we can. Folks, this is what it was going to look like. We'll be having these themes, but how that plays out is likely going to be a little bit different, and we can't give you any more information. That's a stay tuned. Folks, this is probably not going to happen.
I'll just add something to that, what was the previous slide, is that, so yes, absolutely, all of the orientation program and the planned activities will be adjusted over the next couple of days and be responsive to what we need to do in terms of lockdown and distancing. But there will no doubt be an online availability of something. Something will take place. And so I just want to really kind of encourage anybody listening or watching that, try and find out what those are. And as weird and not what you're expecting as it might be, will still be really useful. And it is amazing how much you can get out of an online interaction. And so it might not be everything that was planned, but if you get information that says that this event is going to try and take place in some altered format, then I just encourage you to still try and commit enthusiastically to engaging in that in some way, because it will no doubt be beneficial.
Yes, I think that's really solid advice. I agree. Okay. Folks, we're coming to the end. What we just want to encourage you to do is, if you've got any questions about your course, what you're enrolled in, you can also chat to our course coordinators. So universities are institutions, which means we've got a whole set of systems for doing things and then a whole bunch of roles. So that means that while people might change, the role, what this job does, stays the same. So course coordinators are one of those roles, and they're the people who have oversight of the courses that you might enrol in. So you might be enrolling in a BA, Bachelor of Arts. Giselle Bastian is your course coordinator. So she's someone who can just give you general advice about the BA, about what you might want to study, about what it might look like. So in addition to our student advice people, there are academics who act as coordinators who are just another stop. So following this, this session, you can drop Giselle a line with any questions you have. You can drop Nick a line. He is involved in the creative arts industries. The languages course coordinator is Christelle. The media and comms course coordinator is Sky. Tourism and events, who's Brooklyn's course coordinator, is Gareth. And the BCA VED is Katie Kavanagh, okay? These people know what they're talking about. They're accessible, they're approachable, and they are very, very happy to have a chat to you about anything you might need or want. Okay, if you miss this, I don't know how you will know if you've missed this, that you can go to the library. This might be another email that people get, but if word on the street is that there was a really awesome orientation session for Chas and you're just wondering what's up with that, you can go there and you can watch this and listen to it as many times as you like. And I feel like this would really benefit from a few extra viewings and listenings, don't you? I think there's a whole bunch of subtle subtexts and nuances that you'll really only pick up on the fourth view through. That's a joke, everybody, just so you do not have to do that. Now, just before we go, Katie Kavanagh, who is course coordinator of BCA and VED, just really, really wants to get together with all of you folks in that course and just have a chat about the program and what's going to happen. So she really encourages you to go there, and she'll be waiting online to have a chat to you. So that's in a Collaborate session. I believe you actually, unfortunately, do actually have to type that in because we don't have access. We don't have a way of you clicking on it because you're not in the room. So, I mean, it's not the most inspiring slide upon which to end. There's no thank you or welcome or we love you. It's just a little thing you can type in, but sometimes the most important things are web links and not anything else. Folks, I hope that this has been helpful to you. I can just reinforce we care about you. We care about you as people and as students. We're here because we like uni and we believe in it, and it's given us a lot of benefits, and we really want to share that with you. We want you to have an awesome time. We don't just want you to pass, but we want you to feel enriched and excited and enthusiastic about your studies, and anything we can do to support that, we're really interested in knowing. Sonia, yep.
Just let them know that if there's any inquiries or any problems that they have, we will still be here, even though we may not physically be here, we'll still, most of us will still be working online, but they can email us anytime.
Yep, so Sonia, who's one of our professional staff, has just reminded me to say that lockdown doesn't mean that we won't be available, so we won't be physically on campus, but everyone will be working from home, and so any questions you have, we'll be available to answer. So it's kind of business as usual, just in a different place, but we're still here, we're still committed, we still want to hear from you as much as we can. So, my dear students, not the start that we were hoping for and looking for.